You would have heard the latest news which has come out from the military establishment is that the government has gone ahead and imposed restriction, has imposed a ceiling on the price of the cars that can be bought from the canteen. Yes, I'm talking about the military and CSD, that is the canteens. And under the new policy which comes into effect from from June 1st, individuals of a certain category, that is a senior most, would be able to buy, officers would be able to buy only at the rate at 12 lakh rupees. You can't buy a car anything more than that from the CSD canteens. In case, let's say, if you want to buy, a young officer wants to buy a Jeep Compass, he would have to actually go in to the market and would have to buy. The advantages of buying from the CSD is that you're exempted from the GST, that is levied on products. You end up saving about, minimum about 75,000 on any vehicle, on any car that you actually buy through the CSD. But this particular ruling has now come as a big shocker for the military establishment, especially among the young officers who feel that these were only some of the facilities that were extended to them. That adds the joy to the uniform, besides of course serving the nation. So yes, the veteran community are also pretty peeved over this entire move. Now you have Major General Sadbir Singh, who led the one rank one pension agitation, writing to the army headquarters asking for a rollback of this particular scheme. So please do send in your questions and we'll try and answer as many questions as possible. I have a question coming in from Rahul, and he says, are the army people not okay, what Rahul is essentially asking is, are the army people not allowed to buy cars from the CSD anymore? Well, as I said earlier, there's a new restriction that has been put into place. Earlier, you could buy any car from the CSD, and you could avail the benefits of buying it with the CSD. But with this fresh order, you will now be allowed to buy only cars which cost only 12 lakhs, excluding GST. Some of the cars, mostly many of the army friends that I have, the younger ones love to drive the SUVs, and the SUVs in this range would be would be a Scorpio, would be a Bolero, would be a XUV 300. But let's say, for example, if somebody wants to buy the new Tata Harrier, which has been launched, which is an excellent car, he would not be able to buy it from the CSD because because it doesn't come under the ceiling of 12 lakh as per the new order. Well, I have a question which is coming in from another reader. He's asking, is this the effect of election results? Well, no, it is not the effect of election results. Elections doesn't have anything to do with this. But yes, it's a matter of fact that, there's a new order which has been issued. This order was issued on the 24th of May, and the new rule comes into effect from the 1st of June. Well, Akash Raina is asking, who has put this restriction, any court or army itself? Well, the order has been issued by the army headquarters itself. So yes, the army is, have put these restrictions, but this restriction has not gone down so well with the officers and other ranks, and also the veterans as a whole, as a community as such. Well, I have a question coming in from Shubleen, and she's asking whether the Navy chief recently bought a car, and okay, why did he buy this car? Well, the Navy chief is retiring, obviously. He's giving up his would be retiring tomorrow, and as per norms, he went ahead and bought a car. He's entitled to buying a Jeep Compass. That's a car that he bought, but he would not have been able to do so after the 1st of June. So there was no rules that were violated. He was well within his right to buy a car for himself. For example, I know another officer, a colonel, who recently bought a car, and which cost more than 12 lakh rupees. He got it through the CSD, got a huge discount, and he's very happy of the fact that he did buy it 2 months ago and not in June or maybe around Diwali, when the car prices would have probably dropped further. Well, there's another question which comes in, which says that the MHA, that is the Ministry of Home Affairs, had put no such restrictions on CPO, Central Police Organization, for the purchase of the car. Yes, the canteens run by the MHA is different from the canteens that are run by the defense establishment. So the new rules are applicable only to the CSD, that is the military canteens, and not to the ones that are run by the MHO for the Central Police Organizations. So yes, the Central Police Organization can go ahead and continue to buy bikes or cars, that are offered through their canteen itself. Well, another question that is coming in is this is one of the few restrictions which have been imposed on armed forces on regular basis after SAT 7th Pay Commission. Well, there are a number of things in the recent past that especially the officers are really peeved about. And this also, you mentioned about the 7th Pay Commission. Yes, there are several anomalies in the 7th Pay Commission and it's something that has been looked into. But yes, if you ask me, there is a lot of grief within the military establishment over these 7th Pay Commission anomalies. Also, not to forget the fact that the rations have been taken away from the in peace stations, so that is also another matter of issue. Then they have the whole parity issue that is there with the civilian establishment, with the civilian officers who work in the defense, who work with the forces. That is another area of concern. And of course, the NFU, which is the non-functional upgrade, also happens to be a matter of serious concern within the armed forces. So yes, you're absolutely right that this is an issue coupled with other issues, which is really giving a lot of heartburn within the military fraternity. And remember that this ruling doesn't affect not just the officers, the current officers, but also the veterans as such. I was early in the day, I was speaking to Major General Sadbir Singh, and he had a very important point to make. He said, these are the facility. The army is trying to go ahead and attract as many new youngsters to its fold as possible. And some of the ads that have come up in the recent past over the last few years has been about showing the army way of life, which is supposed to be a glamorous life. For example, many of the officers that if you go to the front have new bikes that they have. They love their bikes, they love their cars. So Major Sadbir Singh was of the view that with these restrictions, you make it more difficult to attract youngsters to the fold. So yes, it's something that is a matter of concern. Well, another question that has been asked is how much is the government saving on this? Well, we haven't really done the calculation on it per se, whether how much is the government really saving through this particular scheme. But I would say, when it comes to military affairs, small savings, small changes don't really matter. If somebody really wants to cut expenses down, it can be cut on so many other fronts. Well, I have a question who's quoting Major General Sadbir Singh, and he's saying we are trying to attract more and more young men to the armed forces, but if we continue to downgrade, degrade, the ill-treat the uniform, why would anyone join? Well, it is a fact, and this is what I had said earlier also, that it's Major General Sadbir Singh has expressed concern over it. This is something which is concerning a lot of officers from the army as well as the veteran fraternity as such. If you log on to www.ThePrint.in, you would be able to read the latest story on this that I've done earlier in the day. And many of the officers, after reading the story, got back to me, got in touch with me and say that while I've mentioned that there's a storm brewing and they were upset, some of the officers actually contacted me and said they were really pissed off and they were really angry about this particular move. But yes, that is a rule which comes into effect from June 1st itself. The other question which is coming in from Shiv is asking whether this rule can be recalled or not. Well, if you're asking this order can be recalled or not, well, as they say, all orders can be recalled. The Major General Sadbir Singh and the veterans organization that he heads has written to the Defense Ministry, to the Army Headquarters, seeking a recall of this particular order. One will really have to wait and see whether this order gets recalled or not. But yes, any order, any decree that is issued can always be recalled in a democracy. Well, another question that is coming in is why was this announced after the election results of 23rd? Well, that is something that I would not be able to answer why this was announced on the 24th. But let me tell you, if you're hinting to an earlier question which also asked the same thing, whether this was in any way connected to the elections, well, the fact of the matter is that no, this is not connected to the elections. This is a policy thing that would have been under discussion for many months. It's not a sudden order that came out of the blue. So yes, it's a fact that that the order came out on the 24th of May, but I don't really feel that this has any connection to the election results as such. Well, thank you for sending in your questions. Please log in to our Facebook account and YouTube live tomorrow around the same time, where one of my colleagues would be answering your questions on the biggest news of the day. Thank you so much.